Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my studio, the MORADNESS HQ. It's where I have my ASR rig and all the equipment, and that's what this video is about. It's all the equipment that's within arm's reach and all the buttons that are available for me while driving and how I have them assigned. So something that's come up a lot in the comments. We read through them, the team and I, we go through the comments often, and I try to be as engaged as possible. So if you have any questions, make sure you write them down below. While you're down there, make sure you sub to the channel. Like the video, maybe at the end. Let's wait till the end, because maybe you don't like the video. We'll have to see and find out. But let's jump in closer to the rig. I'll give you a detailed rundown of all my equipment first, and then all the buttons and how I have them assigned for sim racing. Starting with the equipment, I'm using the Precision Sim Engineering LMX steering wheel. Been using it for several years now, really happy with it, and Precision Sim Engineering is a partner of mine, so a lot of the equipment on my rig is from Precision Sim Engineering. That's the steering wheel. We have the DDX, which is mounted in an unconventional position. Normally you would have a dash behind the steering wheel, but since I have a dash on this wheel, I actually mount it to the side, which is super useful because I can use it for track map. It's really nice for open qualifying. I can actually scan through and see where cars are on track so I can find an open gap. We also have the standings. This is the lovely dashboard that I'm using on both my LMX and on the DDX. So you can just touch through the screens, which is really, really nice. Hopefully in the future we have some integration for other screens that you can use on the side that maybe Lovely can create, or some other dash company, but really, really useful. And then of course the Precision Sim Engineering PSP or Pro Switch panel, that's been very, very popular amongst the sim racing community. A lot of people have purchased these. It's been sold out several times, and you can use code MORADNESS and get 10% off the PSP whenever it's in stock. Again, sold out all the time. Really, really popular device. And for me, I've been using it on my rig ever since the prototyping phase and when we were developing the unit. Right now, just need to point this out. At the current time of filming, the DDX isn't released to the public, but it will be very soon. And again, there's going to be discount codes available, so make sure you keep checking description at various points, whether you're watching the video as it's released or later down the line. Moving to the left side of the rig and the setup for what's accessible to me while I'm driving, I have a Stream Deck from Elgato. That's the XL version. I use that primarily for streaming. Actually, only for streaming. I can use it to change my OBS scenes and use it for different functions while I'm streaming. And just off to the left of that is the Wave XLR, which is the audio interface I can use. I can mute myself, turn the volume up and down, and control alerts and all those various sounds. Moving on to button layout and knobs for that matter, it's actually quite simple. A lot of the things that I use the steering wheel for would be set up in a way where it's similar to the actual car I'm racing, so the Mercedes AMG GT3 or GT4 car in real life. So in terms of like radio button, flash for the headlights, and pit speed limiter, like those are all really important buttons that are kind of like programmed in muscle memory for me. So we'll start with the buttons first. The top left I actually use for Discord push to talk, and then the radio here is for in-game, so I can push and talk to people. You know, jumping from the left to the right side, we have the page down and page up, so I can actually cycle through the dashboards. And then the stop is, at this point, I have it there just because I had an empty space, and sometimes I use this for actually muting the game chat, but I've actually moved that off. So this is an open button at the moment. I moved it off to my PSP. These are kind of had been used for pass left, pass right, but now I have moved that off to my PSP. So these are actually open as well now. Delta at the bottom. I use the Delta for cycling through my Delta page, plus minus, so I can see on the iRacing screen, because that's what I primarily use the sim for. And then top right, we have the flash, headlight flash, pit speed limiter. So those are in the same position as I have my real race car. And already went over the page up. We have the start button, so this is actually to start the car. It's where I have it on, it's a start and stop on the Mercedes, so I have it there as well. And the enter button is something that's tied into the black box. So we'll kind of touch base on this after I go through my black box switch, which is at the top left. I can cycle through my pages here by just rotating this. I actually don't like it on the funky switch because I have to take my hand off the wheel. So I use my funky switch for something totally different, which is actually pretty unique. So cycling through my black box pages, which is my information on iRacing, this is to go up and down the list. And then this one here is actually to increase or decrease values, and enter is to select or deselect certain bits of information, like as if I want to do tires or anything like that. But we'll move, I don't really use it that much because I have pre-programmed buttons for all that stuff on my PSP, which I'll touch base on in just a second. Finally, this rotary is used for brake bias, so I can go up and down on brake bias using this. In the race car, we actually have a knob off of the cards on the center console that we can turn for brake bias, but it's just super convenient right there. If I want to go from corner to corner with different brake bias, I can adjust it. In terms of these knobs here on the front face of the steering wheel, this is a TC, so TC1, TC2, so you can control the slip, either the yaw slip, or you can actually fine tune the wheel slippage in acceleration. And then this is more or less open. This decrease increase is reserved for any other functions for whatever cars I'm running on the sim. If I want to increase or decrease values, whether it's throttle mapping or anything to do with like a hybrid system, let's say. And then ABS up and down, I can adjust this, which is nice, and it pops up right on the screen. The paddles on the back of the steering wheel, I actually use for engine maps. So I have multiple paddles on the top. Here I use it for the wipers, actually, to enable and disable the wipers if I want, to stay on, or just one click. That's just on off, just to wipe the windshield. Now that there's rain in iRacing, which is cool. Of course, you have on the back upshift, downshift, and then the clutch paddles on both sides, which is really, really helpful. And on the Precision Sim wheel, it's so smooth. These are the smoothest clutch paddles you'll ever feel on any wheel. I stand by that. We have the DDX, which I already went over. No buttons here aside from the touchscreen. You can cycle through the pages, and it actually works with MORADNESS gloves, which is really nice. Actually, I'm gonna go get them. I'm gonna be right back. I'm right back. So let's put these bad boys on, and these are the neon leopard gloves. They have touchscreen fingers. You can just actually cycle through. And really nice, actually good feature. Touchscreen fingertip. They're sim racing gloves and go-kart gloves, so you can get them actually at moradness.com. Check the link down below. There's a 10% off code called RadNation. If you're a first-time customer, you can use that and get 10% off your whole purchase. But yeah, moving on from the DDX, which really love the positioning of it, is the PSP. So many acronyms. DDX, PSP, LMX. Makes it simple, but also very complicated. PSP Pro Switch panel, love it. What I don't love right now is that I just recently set this up in this orientation, and unless you are watching this horizontally in bed, it's gonna look a little off because the buttons are sideways. I haven't had the time. I've been busy racing, doing that thing. I haven't been able to peel off these stickers and flip them 90 degrees, so we're living with it like this. But I actually use every single button on here for the most part. Starting from down here, you can kill the LEDs. So if you want to turn the LEDs off, for any reason, I don't know why you would. Maybe it's dark and it's nighttime and you just don't want the light. You can actually kill the LEDs with this. And I've had this just set up from Simon from Precision Sim Engineering. I haven't bothered changing it. I like the default layout of how he sent it to me and how they sent it over. But at the top, the escape button, I just use this for actually having chat pop up on the screen or not. So my chat actually pops up there on the center of the screen. So when I'm driving, I can actually read. And if I want to disable it, I can just click that button and it goes away, which is super, super helpful. Ignition and engine start. Sometimes I have it here where I can turn the ignition off. So for the global settings, that's how I have it, where ignition, engine start. This is a wiper button, but it's actually really to clear the black flags. I do that often in my hosted races. A lot of shenanigans go down there, but we use it to clear black flags. All these, and it's hard to kind of see, but there's a button where I can disable fuel. So let's say you have an accident and you need to do a quick repair, instead of doing a full service pit stop, if you don't want fuel, you can quickly just click that and it disables the fuel with a hotkey in the settings. I also have a custom key where I can put 25 liters, 50 liters, or 75 as like a quick preset. So instead of going through my black box menu over here, instead of going through and like manually clicking enter to decrease the value or slide the wheel, I can just quickly say, okay, it's roughly going to be 25 liters, click it, boom, 25 liters goes in the car. And that actually lights up, which is really nice to basically say, yeah, it's been selected. Or if you go 50 liters, it just lets you know that you've hit that button. The quick hotkey function has been enabled. You can take tires off. You can put tires on. So if you want to do 4 tires, you can actually click this quickly, tear off. You can tell your pit crew when you're doing a pit stop to take a tear off the windshield, because maybe you're in an endurance race, you need to clear it off. The mark and radio button, I haven't changed the stickers there, but I actually have these assigned to damage report and weather report now that there's weather in iRacing. We have actually a mute button for chat. I've been experimenting with what I'm using this mute button for, because sometimes I use the stop button on my steering wheel for mute because it's just quick and easy, but sometimes I use this as well. So like, I don't know, I'm in between, still trying to figure it all out. But we have volume up and down for the spotter on here. Delta, I'm in between. Sometimes I use this as delta, sometimes I use that. Still not quite sure what I'm going to use delta for, but now I actually have pass left and pass right here. So it gives the hotkey command and it flashes. So if I don't want to talk to anybody and I just need to give the text command in chat while we're racing, I can click those. These are used for volume of the game. I can turn these for main volume and also for my chat volume. So the chat in-game volume, I can use it. I can actually, now I use this to mute at the moment. Been experimenting with either this, or just having it all on one knob. And all of these actually can be dual function, dual purpose, including this funky switch here, which is kind of like a bonus tip for you guys, which you may not know. And I'm going to jump back to showing you what I use the funky switches for. But yeah, that's my PSP, DDX, LMX. Bonus tip, when you, let's say, oh, actually 2 bonus tips. Number 1, you can program your tow button instead of a button, because you may have noticed I don't have a tow button anywhere. My tow is actually, my tow button, okay, is both upshift and downshift together for 2 seconds. And that actually pulls me out of the car. If you want to go in the car, you can pull both of them together. So I don't know if you knew that, but you can actually program, you can hold one and then the other, and it acts as a tow button. So that actually can free up your button space. If you guys are short on buttons on the steering wheel, not like me, you can do that. I just like pulling both in. It just feels nice. And yeah, it frees up more space. The other thing is the funky switch. This can actually be used as a secondary function. So let's say you're using this as your black box. Well, maybe not your black box, because you can use black box in the replay scene, but for anything else, let's say you're using it for headlights or whatever it may be. You can actually use this as a rewind. You can use it as a fast forward. You can use it to pause, slow motion. You can also use it to, when you dial this, you can change cars, or you can set it to change cameras. I actually have these to change cameras. So when I click these buttons, again, dual function, I use them to change my camera position. To jump from scene to scene, or from lap to lap, you can use this as well. So I actually have this set, look at me, I don't even know. I have these set up to laps, so it can jump from lap to lap. And I have these to set up my camera positioning, so I can just cycle through cameras with my paddles in the back of the wheel. And you can set anything you want. Flash, you can set pit speed, whatever. You can set it for 2 different functions, for replay buttons and also for driving buttons. So that's something you guys can keep in mind. So let's jump over to the left side now on the rig, and we'll have a look at what I'm using my Stream Deck for finally to wrap up the video. And finally, the last thing that we have is my Stream Deck. And what I use this for, it's mainly used for streaming. I have all my scenes listed out here. So if I want to do some iRacing and have it on my main iRacing screen, I do this. For talking, I have my talking scene plus all of my additional cameras. So I have the camera angle that's the main shot onto me. We have the low camera, the desk cam, which is sliding across the back of the room, and also my pedal cam. So my starting scene, ending scene, even stuff that I set up for when I'm recording YouTube videos, we have a ton of different options here. So this is super useful. I can turn lights on and off just right from here. So it's really my director panel. I can control everything, and this is what makes the stream what it is. So speaking of that, I'm streaming on Twitch as much as possible. Very difficult nowadays with all the racing and how intense the schedule is, but I'm trying my best. And this obviously makes my life really easy. And finally, last but not least, is my audio interface, the Wave XLR. I can mute and unmute just by tapping the top, and I can even adjust the volume based on how loud or quiet things are. I can adjust individual alerts right from this by clicking through and adjusting it. I hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough of all my equipment and how I set up my buttons. If it inspired you, let me know down below if you have any questions about how I do things, how I set everything up, or any equipment that I missed on the rig. I'm happy to answer down below in the comments. And while you're down there, like I said before, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoyed it. I'm sure you have, you made it to this point, so make sure you smash the like button on the video. It helps so much. Put this video and just publish it out to a larger audience. And it really helps grow this community, which has been super, super positive, and it's been amazing to meet all of you guys around the world. Like always, hope this video has helped you and your sim racing adventures and journey. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, make sure you drop them down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.